Welcome to an episode of The Diplomats. The real, authentic diplomat is back, Umble the Heap, to give us his meta thoughts on what's going on in the Season 5 Nexus Finals. We last heard from him at the end of 1902, where he thought the Austrian move on Italy might be 1 year too early, and giving us his thoughts on what was happening on the board. A whole year and a half has occurred since we've last heard from Umble, but he wants to come in with some thoughts, and we want to have them. But before we get to those thoughts, we've got the editor in at large, creator of diplomacybriefing.com, who sponsors this podcast, and we're fortunate to have their sponsorship. So, Umble, tell us about Diplomacy Briefing.
Well, the Diplomacy Briefing is a weekly update on everything that's happening in diplomacy. It keeps everyone updated on tournament winners, on any new variants that come out, updates to apps, new strategy articles. There's always original content that's popping up. Oftentimes, we pretty much always get articles from any of the tournament winners giving advice that help them win the tournament. So if you want to do well, you definitely want to subscribe to the briefing. It's free. There's no charge. You go to diplomacybriefing.com. You can sign up through email, or you can do social media also. We are approaching 700 subscribers and followers. So there's been a great response from the community, but it's definitely the place to stay updated with what's going on. So encourage everyone to go and sign up.
Is Bill Hackenbrack going to write an article about, he may have already done so, I missed last week's briefing, on his Carnage victory?
Yeah, this one, it'll be out in this coming Friday's issue. So by the time you hear it, it'll be out. But yes, he has written a Champion's Corner for that.
Well, I was one away from getting to write the Champion's Corner briefing on that. So I'm sure you're heartbroken.
I am. I'm looking forward to the day when you can write an article and get it emblazoned there in the briefings, and one of the briefings issues. So for sure, yeah, I would love for you to be able to do something like that. I was really happy to see how you did and how you got into the top board and played a good game. And of course, I was rooting for you. And I was sorry to see that you weren't able to get quite over the hump, but still, it's really, really great finish.
Appreciate that. I had a lot of fun at Carnage, and I will note that somehow I snuck in with not as many awards as you have in the Nexus Hall of Fame, but maybe one day I can make it into the Diplomacy Briefing Hall of Fame.
Well, we have no Hall of Fame, but if
you have no Hall of Fame yet.
Yeah, I suppose that's true, but
get ready for the trophy case.
Yeah, doing a final board on virtual face-to-face is great. And something, you've had some pretty good success as Austria in this virtual face-to-face format. And
I seem to play it a lot.
Have you been eliminated as Austria or had a bad result in any of your virtual games when you played Austria?
No, I've only actually been eliminated in one game in Carnage, and that was as Italy. But Austria, I've not had a bad result. I think my worst result has been second on the board. That's happened twice. Every other time I shared a board top or got the board top outright. It plays into what I like to do well, which is to talk to people.
Yeah.
And I used to fear Austria, and now I sort of embrace it. I'm becoming more of a central power guy. I like to play in the middle a bit. I think that's more my game. I used to like the corner powers because I just thought I could stay around a little longer. But it's curious how virtual face-to-face allows you to play to your strengths a little bit, and that's one of the countries I've enjoyed playing.
Yeah. It's face-to-face with the short deadlines. It can in some ways be a plus and a minus depending on your skill set. So like if you're really good tactically, if you can't make those decisions quickly, then it doesn't matter for you. You know, you could be the greatest strategist, the greatest tactician, but if it takes you more than, probably, 3 or 4 minutes to come up with a good plan, you're going to be toast. And you cannot be the greatest, you know, tactician, but if you are very good at forming relationships and people like talking with you, you can have much better success than the more maybe analytical side of the game. And so, yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing when you were talking about Austria, that might play a little bit into your wheelhouse, that of having good results.
Yeah, I found, and we'll get to this game in a second, but in virtual face-to-face, at least in the West, which is traditionally where I've done pretty well in my Nexus games, except for the Media Wars game, it, it turns into a bit of a really, really quick high school popularity contest of 2-on-1, and you really need to be on the 2 and not the 1.
Right.
But in the East, you just got to find 1 out of the 3, and you can hang on and do some damage.
Sure.
All right. So talking about doing damage, Austria seemed like it had a vice grip on Italy, and in 03, fall of 03, it all turned around with Austria vacating Apulia, not making a move towards Venice, giving up the army on the boot, going to the Eastern Med. Audacious Hand, and I don't know if you've listened or not, and you don't need to say one way or the other, loved the play. I loved it from Austria's perspective. I think the main point was keeping Russia onside. It felt Cobb was the kind of player who wouldn't hold a grudge, at least in the short term, and more importantly, got its units in position to eat up Turkey as opposed to the Italian units. Superstition didn't like the move as much for lots of reasons and thought it may have eroded credibility in the long term. I don't know if you agree with either of them or have a different take, but the East to me is a lot more interesting than the West. But what would you like to say?
Well, the real question becomes, what caused this move to happen? Because obviously this wasn't part of like a master plan. I mean, the master plan wasn't, hey, I'm going to stab Italy and then pull off and go back and get Turkey. There's no way that was if he was able to forecast that out 2 years in advance, well then, that's a savant of diplomacy and incredible luck. Obviously he decided to change course. And the question becomes, what was the reason that caused him to do it? Was this a diplomatic falling out with Turkey where he said, this cannot be my long-term ally, I need to switch back? Or was this simply hey, this is going to get me a really great position? Or maybe it was a little bit of both. I think everybody has made decisions, especially in an online game. You've made a decision and you were attacking a person and an opportunity came up to switch, and you switched and you realized the grass was not greener because you were also going to have to deal with, this ally is going to have their own demands, their own things that they want. And that's the question. Did Austria go with Turkey because he saw an opportunity, but then when he actually started negotiating with Turkey, he was like, I can't do this the rest of the game. This is not going to be a long-term thing, and switch back? Or was it just straight opportunism, like, hey, you know what? I can become the Italy. I mean, honestly, I've never seen an Austrian player work the strings and be this dominant, especially in a high-profile game like this. To be completely honest, he's making Russia, Turkey, and Italy look like they are bottom-feeding players. They're basically doing, they're running around, not sure what to do, and Austria's getting every single advantage.
Yeah. I mean, Audacious Hand calls them his dogs, and he wants all of them to be Austria's good dog. It's very entertaining to hear that. But I want to ask you because it would go without saying, Conk has gone online here to complain, but I maintain, or at least posit, that all the rooting for Turkey that occurred on the finals commentary section of the Nexus board, some of it by Conk himself, uh, you know, where he has a sock puppet as a penis. Now I thought it was an erect penis, but Conk has on another board on Nexus told me no, it wasn't that, and we were joking about it. But did his sort of bragging and did he have too much hubris or fly too close to the sun like Icarus in the Greek myth and caused the turnaround?
Well, ultimately, that's only a question that Austria can answer. I doubt that anything that was said publicly would get Austria to change his mind. I mean, he doesn't seem. I doubt that he's that temperamental of a player to make that decision. Why the reason why Austria made that decision is because he believes long term this is the best decision for him. Now, what he looks like, from the outside, he looks like he's just dot grabbing, right? He's grabbing whatever move looks best for that particular turn, he's going to make it. And I should probably add too, we know that the people that are surrounding him are not terrible players either. These are not, they've been in finals. All three of them are finalists, right? They've been finalists before.
Right.
So it wasn't just a fluke that they got there. So these are good players. So ultimately, I would honestly say this: it's not even so much that obviously Austria has to be a great player to be doing as well as they're doing, and they have to be really well. But part of the stuff that's going on is these three can't get their act together either. They can't even get on the same page. Any of them. None of them are working together. Russia's not working with Italy. Russia's not working with Turkey. Turkey's not working with Italy. Turkey's not working with Russia. None of them are working together, and so I don't know. It's the biggest quagmire that I've ever seen on a top board where it's like nobody wants to make any type of concession. And the truth of the matter is, obviously I can't speak to Italy, but definitely to both Russia and Turkey. I mean, they can be stubborn players. I'll throw myself in there. I can be stubborn too. And it's like they would rather allow Austria to win the East than compromise anybody. So I don't know who's the cause of this, but Austria's dominance is it's not just him. It's also there's other people that are flushing their chances down the toilet.
Okay. Let's move to the board as we on the last set of moves, spring 1904. And I kind of want to do this counterintuitively because there's exciting stuff that's going on here. But I want to start in the north. Help me understand what is going on with England and Germany that they're not moving to take St. Petersburg. And ultimately, England here, it seems to be on the way short end of the stick.
Right.
He gets Brest, finally got his first thing out of the alliance with Germany, his first dot, but loses Liverpool in the process. So what's going on? Is Germany, you think, not working with England up there? Or is Village Idiot, who's playing Russia, for those who don't know, exerting some sort of, mind control about, what would happen if he's weakened to? I can't put my finger on it.
Well, I think when I made the power rankings, as I recall, I put England second to last. I put Italy above England as far as where I thought their play had been. And the reason is because England is basically he's like that he's just an extension of what Germany wants. And So he's not actually getting builds. He's not actually growing. He's just helping Germany to actually be the one who advances. And an English player with a certain level of self-respect, I would say, would be making demands right now. Hey, I'm not going to help you if this doesn't happen. I'm not going to help you if I don't get this. And instead, that bounce in Norwegian, I have no idea what the purpose of that is, because Germany doesn't have any fleets bordering the North Sea. I mean, you don't make any moves in any way to try to counter, French influence. I guess his thought must have been, well, France maybe is going to go to the Norwegian. So, but again, I don't know why that would be a priority over getting a build. Like, the easy thing to do would be just to say, you know what, okay, you can take Liverpool, but I'm going to be getting Brest and I'm going to take St. Petersburg, so I'm going to be getting a build no matter what, and then I'm going to come back and take it back. Like,
Well, he
to
could have
me,
made
that's
that
the
same
move.
move. He could have made that same move, as critical as we are of it, but for Sweden not to move to Finland to support England into St. Petersburg, that he can't get that from happening. I mean, that's shocking to me.
Well, I wasn't that impressed with Germany's. I don't think his moves were that efficient. Not just in the spring, but also also last year. I don't think his moves were that efficient on how he did stuff, and that fleet should be back in the Baltic if he's not going to be doing anything, And and because he didn't move Sweden to Finland, and they're not going to take St. Petersburg, so literally that fleet is sitting there for no reason. I don't know, ultimately what his real purpose there is. It should go back to the Baltic, because then you can do better defense, you can convoy. You really should have done that. And I don't understand what the purpose of that in any way, shape, or form is. And it's obvious that Germany is the one calling the shots. Now, that being said, their whole thing that they did there in the fall of 2003, where they supported France into Picardy, and I mean, if that was a planned thing so that Germany could retreat into Paris, that was great. That was a nice set. But I'm not convinced on the long-term staying power of that England's calling the shots there, and we'll have to see if Germany can pull this off. It's pretty clear to me that England is not making any type of aggressive asks that this is what I need, this is what I do, because France, and I think that shows a little bit of that, because the way France is moving is almost in the sense like, I respect, especially with him going and attacking England. Like, you would, I don't know, you would think that England, with how poorly that he is getting out of this alliance, that he would be able to, work something out with France at some point, or at least demand from Germany something, but he hasn't.
I'm a little surprised, but I'm also very impressed with Doc Bender as France. I mean, no one likes to get ganged up on, but this guy is just playing, in my mind, a great defensive tactical game where he's not going to win, but it's just wonderful to watch what he's doing. He's, except for the one where where England and Germany figured out how to support the mutual bounce. But even that wasn't bad on France's move. This is the best move he could make. He's doing a fantastic job. I just wish I'm hoping he can get it together with England or something, but I don't think it's going to happen based on what I'm seeing.
There should have been, if he was going to be able to make it, he needed Russia to be much more aggressive early, and Russia wasn't. And I think Russia's passive moves in 1902 has put them in the position they are right now. And I still don't like the moves that Russia's made. I don't know what the point is continuing to support St. Petersburg when you need to be making moves. Like, you need to be using your armies for something. You need to be getting stuff in position so you can move on Austria. I don't know what the plan is. here. Like if you're gonna lose, because you're gonna, you're gonna only have 6 game years after this. If you're going to lose, at least go lose trying to win. And Russia's only real way to grow here is Austria, pulling something on Austria. And so keeping 2 armies up there in the north, I don't know. I don't like it.
What do you think about the retreat to Prussia? Because to me, the only thing it can do is tap Berlin to get Austria another build.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because he could have retreated to Galicia, which Austria wouldn't have liked. But I guess his thought process probably was maybe his thought process is he'll bounce or something. I don't know. He obviously wanted to put some pressure on Berlin for whatever reason. I'm sure it's thought out. The general thought, obviously, to go to Prussia is you want to do something there with Austria at some point, attacking Germany, but that's a dead end at the end of the day. And that's where another thing I have a problem with Germany is his move set. I don't feel was as optimal as it could be. But it is what it is.
The only reason I don't think he retreated to Galicia, which was the first thing I thought, was, well, if there's going to be a stab on Austria, it would have to come from Italy, Austria, and Russia, and moving to Galicia would tell Austria something's coming. If it is coming, moving to Prussia doesn't give that impression at all.
Yeah. England. See, England's very frustrating to me because he's making all the moves to make sure that not only does France lose, but that he loses too. I mean, if I was England last year, I would have been selling France exactly what Germany was going to do and then setting myself up to take some centers, because he's allowing Germany to just continue to plow ahead, get more opportunity. England's not going to be able to hold Holland, and when it's just not, I don't think England in any way, shape, or form has it. I think he's played a terrible game at the end of the day, and he's allowed somebody else to work his will. We've seen this sometimes in finals games where guys just kind of go along with the more forceful personality and they lose the game because of it. So I've really not liked England's play.
Talking about play I like, though, is Poser Tom in Italy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, this is fantastic for him. Look, I mean, he had an army on the boot. He had Naples was lost. Venice was lost.
Yeah.
And he's gotten out of that in a big way.
Yeah. My opinion, if I would have known that he was, if I was reasonably sure that Trieste was going to Tyrolia, if I knew that, I would have probably attacked Austria in that moment. That's your moment to do it. Go into Trieste, pull up to Apulia so that you can go to Venice, convoy his army out, but then go ahead and, bounce Austria so he doesn't get that build. And you possibly, by doing this, you also have some play there on France with England. You're going to be getting a build or two, and also Austria now is no longer in the driver's seat. I would have moved if I would have known that was going to happen. I would have moved Venice to Trieste, and I would have still convoyed that army out, but I would have moved Venice to Trieste. And if you were really sure of it, no, I would have done that. I would have done Venice to Trieste, followed up with Naples to Apulia. But
well, I think everyone's thinking maybe a little bit too long term, but I think the turn on Austria is coming. But
who's going to do it?
Well, first of all, right, it could happen this turn. I mean, Venice can probably get Germany to get him Marseille. He doesn't, so that could happen, and could get Turkey into Greece.
Yeah.
or Ionian can move to Adriatic, which is what
Do-
Audacious Hand suggests. But there's a chance here if Conk took Budapest, let if Village Idiot took Budapest, let Conk take the black.
Now,
Uh, is that crazy?
what do you
To see
think?
that move and
Yeah, what do you think that army goes to Greece for? Because that's very trusting. Because if I'm Russia, I'm probably going to be hitting Budapest or Serbia for sure, like
what is
100%.
the argument on why? I guess he feared Conk moving Aegean to Greece.
Yeah. No, if I was him, I would have much rather probably bounced in Greece in that situation. And I'm interested on why, because there's not much, like, there's not a lot you can do convoy wise. You're not going to do that. Um, I shouldn't say bounce because you got Russian support, but I wonder what the purpose ultimately. That's probably what it is. I wouldn't have wanted it to go in though. Hmm.
Well, if he didn't want to go in, he supported it in. I mean, it got
Yeah.
cut, but I mean,
Well, see, that would have been a moment. Okay, so let me just put this out there. I can. I will be shocked personally. I will be shocked if Russia does not go for Budapest this turn. I will be shocked if because he can walk into it and I bet you they're going to make a deal not to do the Black Sea. In fact, this is what I would do as Russia. I'd say, look, I'm going to be going. I'm going to put my fleet into Romania, or hold. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to go Romania to
no, it
Budapest.
does matter because he's going to have to build somewhere. If Silesia gets to Warsaw, he won't have a place to build if the fleet doesn't get out.
Oh yeah. That's a good point. So, but I mean, he can go to Romania. The only way that wouldn't go
Right.
through is if, but you know what you say there is, I'm going to build an. If you put your fleet in the Black Sea, I'm building another fleet, and I'm going to kick you out, and then I'll be going 100% against you. But you know what probably would be really good? You know, put it down into Armenia, and that way, I don't. There's definite options, but if I was Russia and Turkey, my opinion, if you want to get this game going for both of you, you get Turkey to take Bulgaria and you take Budapest, which is good for Russia because most likely Turkey's losing Smyrna anyway. So what you do, and you try to maybe bring Italy in on this too.
Well, I think Greece. I think they give Italy Greece,
Well, if they do
and
that though, then someone's not going to be getting something. So I think, my opinion, there's no way that all three of them will pull something off of Austria. Italy could have if he would have gone to Trieste, which I really think he should have in that moment.
that's why I
But
think Italy thinks he's getting Marseille.
yeah, I'm sure he is. So he may not be there to help, but it'd be interesting what that fleet in Ionian does.
Well, I'll show you what Audacious Hand has
Go to,
predicted here. He
you
did a
know,
little sandbox. He's Ionian going to Adriatic.
I was just, and you know, here's the thing. I was just thinking on, I was literally just thinking. I was just about to mention he could go to the Adriatic and set up, but that's not a terrible decision to make. You know, get your spot. But I don't. Why would he? Why would Romania not go to Budapest in that situation? I think that's a natural continuation.
He thinks, and I agree with you. Not only am I pushing for it, but I think it will happen. Uh, Audacious Hand's like he thinks that Village Idiot, and I don't think he knows him well enough, is just gonna stick with Austria for now. But like, where's Austria? Where's Russia gonna grow?
Right. He's literally got the one center, the only center on the entire board he can possibly get. And yeah, let me see how this shakes out. I'll sit back and wait. It's not. He's going to take Budapest. So I would be. I would. Oh my word! I would give him the biggest F if he doesn't take it. He's got to do something, and he's got to slow Austria down a little bit and throw this game open. So I think that's probably what's going to happen. We'll see if Turkey gets Bulgaria. Turkey can get Bulgaria if Italy will help. Now the big thing would be this. But here's the thing: Conk is never going to make a deal where he doesn't get Bulgaria.
Execute a stab with Conk successfully without Conk trying to meddle.
Well,
this is the village idiot conundrum.
Well, the one thing is, okay, so I can only speak on my one game, but he was pretty truthful in our discussions, which, I appreciated about that. What I didn't appreciate was the stuff he passed on to other people. But he was very truthful in his discussions with me, and he never told me, like, ironclad before a move happened, I will do this for you, and he didn't. We didn't collaborate on a single move. Like, I made overtures that supposedly would make things happen, and they didn't quite happen, but that was like a year, maybe a season early. But
the man's got nothing to lose.
Yeah. I don't think that Turkey is going to help Italy. What I'm saying is, I don't think Turkey would help Italy get Greece before he gets Bulgaria. So I don't think he would support that and go down.
No, but I'm wondering the opposite. Will Italy help Turkey get Greece?
Well, there's a case to be made that that's actually probably in Italy's favor, because if Turkey is losing, is going to lose Smyrna, if that's going to happen, then perhaps it's in his interest to let Turkey stay at 3 and hurt Austria in that setting, not let him grow. So there's a case to be made about that perhaps that's in his interest to let Turkey get that if he knows for sure that Smyrna is going to fall. I don't know. I don't know what if they're going to be playing for position or to knock Turkey out, but getting Turkey down to 2 is great for everybody. But this is the moment. Here's the thing: if Turkey's going to be dropping down to 2, this is the moment where Russia and Italy need to make some kind of move, I would say. Italy's going to have a chance. I think Italy's in a good position here. It's if Russia will take Budapest. If Russia takes Budapest, Italy's really up their chances on having a strong game.
And so is Russia, because that means Austria won't take Munich. Austria will be down Budapest, maybe down, get Smyrna. So, you got to get Austria down one more, hopefully.
Yeah.
So, conk to Bulgaria. But, do you think this is the move just for Italy and Russia, or do you think coordinate with Turkey as well?
Well,
you seem to be of the opinion, get Turkey down one more, and then we'll loop them in on this deal.
Yeah, that's the better long-term thing to happen. The issue is that it's Austria in Eastern Med with his army in Syria that you're going to be stabbing, not the opposite. But and that's the thing, you have to have fleets there to be able to do anything. So what we may end up seeing is that Austria goes out of the game before Turkey. If everything that I'm kind of forecasting happens, we might see that wintergreen happen, but Austria will actually go out before Turkey does. Because you can't take out Turkey without help from someone, either Italy or Austria there. And so if they're attacking Austria, he's not going to probably be attacking Turkey unless he does the conk way to go out. So take out the other guy that's not attacking you. So that's an option. But I think there's I think we're going to see Budapest fall. I think we're probably going to see Sevastopol, Romania. It may not hurt, I don't know. You may be seeing everything align here, and it may not hurt for Austria to say, look, man, why don't you take Budapest? Why don't you take Serbia? Go ahead and take it. Let's just don't Austria's got to know that something's going to happen.
Will Germany get in on the action? Germany helped Italy before with Tyrolia.
Yeah.
Will
Um,
Germany make a move?
well, I guess you could put. Well, you've got to do something so that you don't lose Munich, and so you have to do something along those lines. It'd be interesting. I can't foresee. It'd be
I think
interesting.
Silesia might move to Galicia.
I've
If he thinks Village Idiot's moving back to Warsaw.
yeah, that's always fun to do to cause some havoc in
Well, because
there.
remember, Burgundy can support Munich because
But
and
yeah, and here's the issue. That's why Bothnia should have gone to Baltic so that you could support Berlin, um, rather than how he threw stuff out in Silesia. Baltic. There's a few different ways that you could have done stuff if it's there in the Baltic. I guess defensively it's probably still about the same, but um, you could use that for you know, some other things along those lines. But I don't know if Germany's going to go all out there. He's obviously the next step for him is probably to take it may be to take Belgium. Set yourself up because England's getting Brest and losing Liverpool. And so if you take Belgium in this moment, nobody can take Paris from you. They're just fleets. You can get a build.
You don't think Picardy would cover it?
No, I don't. I mean, he could.
Well, what else is that army going to do?
Um,
You can tell him, I'll give you Paris and not.
yeah.
We're getting a little
Well,
uneven on builds here.
yeah, you would think that would be the normal thing to do, but I'm not convinced England will do what's normal. When you've got a person that's just basically entering in the orders, and I'm not saying he's doing that, but it sometimes looks that way. When a lot of times they'll make moves that are really not good for them. Because I've done that to plenty of people where it doesn't make sense looking back why someone did that, but they were just like the alliance seemed to be working okay for him, and so they were basically entering in the orders and not thinking them through. So I don't know. Um, no, I mean you would think it would go back to Belgium and maybe get set up for a convoy back or something like that. That would be ultimately what makes sense to do.
Well, if the Austrian attack happens, and I think we both agree it should, it's a whole new game.
Yeah.
But the next target there, you would think, would be Germany, right?
Right.
Nobody wants someone to get way out. If Germany takes Belgium, they're going to be way out in front.
Well, and at that point, that'll all be on Russia and England to figure things out because France isn't going to be able to do a lot to help you against Germany in that moment. And if Austria is the one getting attacked, he's not going to be able to. So it's going to become a game of England and Russia. And I think Germany likes his odds if that's the case.
Okay, so any other predictions?
Um, well, something's going to happen here, right? When it comes to with England and Italy, who is getting who is going to be getting my guess is you're going to probably see England go for Portugal and Italy go for Spain. Well, wait, you don't. So all you need. So here's the thing. All you need. You support into Marseille, right? And
You support Spain to Marseille and then sneak
well,
in west.
I'm guessing Germany is going to support Piedmont to Marseille.
If he doesn't take Belgium.
Right. So my guess is that's what he says he's going to do. This is really rife for some betrayal, but I'm guessing that's what the promise is there, or something along those lines. So if that's the case, you want to definitely take one more unit off them, and the best way to do that is through support. I don't think Italy is going to be okay with supporting England into Spain. And maybe he could say the North Coast. I don't think it's really interesting there. I wouldn't be shocked if I'm Germany. What do you want? Who do you want to get that center first? Maybe Italy.
I think you want Italy.
Yeah. I think you probably want Italy to get that more than England in that moment. And so, huh. But the other part of that there too is Gascony to Mid-Atlantic could cut that support. The safest way, if you really want to knock France down, the safest way is for Italy to support Mid-Atlantic to Spain, Paris to hit Gascony, support into Marseille, and now France has only Portugal, and that's it. So
yeah, but I'm not sure Germany cares about that right now.
No, he probably doesn't. If I was Germany, in fact, I'd probably not want France to lose Spain or Portugal, and maybe even Marseille, because France can't do anything against Germany now. I mean, he's got one army. That's it. So he has nothing.
That fleet in Gascony is not moving to Paris.
And it wouldn't surprise me at all if Germany's the one making France's orders. I have done that plenty of times. I've had a person I'm attacking and they got more mad at the other guy that was with me. And I've just said, okay, do this order and do that order. And I slowed my ally down so I could become the bigger power. I mean,
Paris could move to Brest with support from Gascony.
It could, couldn't it? That would be something. He gets Brest, and if he were to somehow pull off Belgium too, that would be something. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good options here if Germany wants to solidify. The issue then just becomes it is early, and will that unite everybody, or even will they be able to stop them? I don't know, because the board is so fractured. It makes you wonder, can they get it together to stop someone? And I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that I see that level of diplomatic influence and cooperation on the board.
Yeah, well, look, I think it's set up to be incredibly disappointing and boring or awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's going to be an in between.
Yeah.
Could be a little bit awesome if we just saw moves in the East and not the West, or vice versa. But
Yeah.
it'd be good for things to shake up, because I'm enjoying the game this year.
So let me give some low marks here. I think Austria throwing his armies up against Germany was a poor decision.
And Greece.
Yeah,
I mean, both. He's spread.
Greece,
where are his contiguous units?
Yeah.
Look at this.
Greece is a little more justifiable, but leaving yourself open to a desperate Russia, especially because Germany's not really at this point. He's not really going to be what's going to keep you from winning. Austria is not. I've said this so many times that you don't win the game by making somebody else lose. And my point is this: if you begin playing to make someone else lose, all that happens is that you are actually really creating the opportunity for somebody else to win. And so you've got to be making the decisions that most help you become the winner. And I don't think throwing two armies up at Germany, who's got three armies there anyway, was going to do much of anything. And keeping, Germany and Russia kind of at a detente was fine for you, because eventually you want those Russian centers. So I think you've created a big problem by opening yourself up to that, because it literally, you may say, hey, I'm at 6 right now. If Russia takes Budapest from you, your entire game plan is different. Everything has changed. So I think it would have been better to play a little more conservatively at that point.
So let me ask you this last strategic issue. Italy, if you don't want to help Conk, and you feel fairly confident that you're going to get Marseille,
Hmm.
and you don't think Austria is going to take Venice, what about a convoy of Apulia to Albania?
Yeah, exactly.
And then
Yeah,
you get the build in Venice.
right.
And if Russia's in Budapest,
Yes.
you've
That,
got a great spot.
yeah, and that's actually better than going into the Adriatic. Um, and that is I would say that would be that's a better move than going into the Adriatic right away. Now, I mean, it's more offensive, but um, the real thing I feel like was going into Trieste right away. I don't think I don't know. None of these moves are like they're destroying their chances of winning, because at the end of the day, this is very good for Italy. This was a very good year. Um, how things were shaping up against Austria, he was able to change that around, which I had a lot of confidence that he would be able to do it. I didn't think it was that dark, but Italy's still in a great place. He still has good chances to win. Um, I'm not convinced. If I were to rank people on their order of being able to win the game, I would probably put Germany first. Um, probably.
You're having a hard time with second.
Well, I Italy's probably second. Um,
Got to put Russia up there. Russia's going to have some
yeah,
life.
yeah. Russia's probably third, and then Austria. I just don't think. I would probably put Austria right now a little bit above Russia, just because Russia's whole position is pretty precarious, because when Germany and England want to put that pressure on him, he's going to be in trouble. So I would probably say Germany, Italy, Austria, and Russia. And I would say that I don't think England, Turkey, or France are going to be able to get back into this game. England has a better chance out of those three, but
Do
he
you
just
think
hasn't
England has a
shown.
better chance than Turkey? I think there's a chance if they work with Turkey this turn that Turkey turns it around.
Well, I mean, like there's stuff like if England wanted to get in the game and do some stuff, I mean, he could just go all out and try to grab Denmark and set himself up to take Sweden, or to try to do some things along those lines. I mean, like he could just go all in trying to grab stuff. Which would that be a great long term plan? Probably not. But it's England has played really poorly. His tactics are bad. His strategy. I mean, like how he's placed his units are not optimal. Um, so which pains me to see. It pains me personally to see that. But I, I definitely think Italy's probably second in that list as far as winning the game.
That's a fan. I know things weren't that dark, but it is a fantastic turnaround for Italy. By all accounts, a nice player as well. I've not had the privilege with Poser Tom, but I have had the privilege of talking to you about the spring 1904 moves and what can happen in fall 1904. Umble, thanks so much for. I know it's a busy time in your personal life. By the time we're recording this, it's not just late at night. We are into the early morning hours. And so I appreciate it. And thanks to you and thanks to diplomacybriefing.com for sponsoring our little Diplomats podcast. And I look forward to a time when we can do this more regularly. Thank you, Umble.